Hey, what's up, guys? This is David Chase Taylor of 911truther.org. Today is May 21st of 2026. So, based on breaking news and events, it appears the CIA headquarters located beneath CERN at Lake Geneva in Switzerland is going to stage an escalating series of blood sacrifices, terror attacks, political assassinations, acts of war during the upcoming Jewish holiday of Shavuot on May 21st to the 23rd of 2026. So for those of you that are unaware, throughout modern history, numerous blood sacrifices targeting celebrities, athletes, terror attacks, political bombings, acts of war have all been committed on Jewish holidays. This has to do with the fact that 90% roughly of Jewish holidays reflect Roman holidays, and we are in fact living in a modern version of Rome or the Roman Empire, and therefore they always, and I mean always, almost always, execute these ritualistic, esoteric blood sacrifices on Jewish holidays. The most recent of which was the Bondi Beach massacre in Bondi Beach, Sydney, Australia, which was executed on the very first day of Hanukkah. And this is just the latest. If we look back at the last 100 years, we would see probably over 1,000 blood sacrifices that were executed on the Jewish holiday numerology. And this particular May 21st, today, the 22nd, and the 23rd of May, is going to be absolutely horrific in nature. So exactly what type of event is planned is obviously not known, but what we do know is it's going to be biological, chemical, nuclear, or radiological in nature. It's likely going to feature the political assassination of one or more heads of state, number one being Donald J. Trump, number two being Russian President Vladimir Putin, and number three being Pope Francis the 14th. And we know that they're going to stage terror attacks and acts of war specifically to trigger World War III. There's also the realistic possibility that in the aftermath of this video that the CIA will resort to some sort of random attack or some sort of alien apocalyptic alien disclosure event, an asteroid strike, a comet strike, some sort of directed energy weapon-based fire like a fire of London or a fire of Moscow where an entire city is burnt, some sort of kinetic energy weapon-related attack or some sort of antimatter-related attack. But nuclear attacks, biological outbreaks, political assassinations, and World War III is expected in the next 48 to 72 hours. So because there are multiple wars going on around the world, namely the Russo-Ukrainian war and the Iran war, a major escalation that is biological, chemical, nuclear, or radiological in nature regarding those two wars is expected. So that is to say that Russia or Iran will stage some sort of CBRN-related attack, possibly targeting Ukraine or Israel or some other third-party nation. There's also a 100% chance that the CIA is going to stage a military offensive by China, Iran, North Korea, Pakistan, and or Russia on the date of May 21st, May 22nd, and or May 23rd, specifically to trigger World War III. A future scenario in which the CIA in Switzerland orders China to attack Taiwan, Japan, or other nations in the Asian Pacific theater of war is expected. Also, an Iranian attack on Israel, possibly the UAE or the United States, is also expected. A North Korean attack on South Korea, Japan, or the Philippines is also expected. A Pakistani sucker punch type attack targeting India out of the blue is also expected, and a major Russian attack targeting Ukraine, Scandinavia, or other European Union countries is also expected. Domestically in the United States, the CIA is plotting 9/11 style weaponized biological contagion-related attacks. The election on May 19th, which Republican Thomas Massie was relieved of his duties as congressman, and this was entirely orchestrated by the CIA to provide a timely motive for an anti-Semitic America First revenge attack targeting one or more locations in the United States. The report I'm going to publish in a few minutes is for an alleged anti-Semitic white American domestic terror attack with a weaponized airborne biological contagion flying into the Pentagon in Washington, D.C. That is specifically why the head of the Pentagon, Pete Hegseth, campaigned on behalf of Massey's opponent, and this was designed to create a timely motive for a revenge attack targeting the Pentagon. So that's what's on tap there. Attacks, bombings, weaponized biological attacks, 9/11 style kamikaze, nuclear attacks, suicide bombings by Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Hamas, Hezbollah, Muslim Brotherhood, Taliban, etc., 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 is also expected. We know that Islamic terrorism is the Israeli Mossad's bread and butter, and they are going to be making breakfast, essentially, because May 21st, May 22nd, and May 23rd are blinking red. We know that Shavuot is a major, major Jewish holiday. And also Shavuot is Shiva with the T, and T stands for time. So it's Shiva time, and Shiva is the god of destruction. So this means that the Zionist Jewish CIA, which is in Geneva, Switzerland, that is why the first ever Zionist Congress was held in Basel, Switzerland back in, I believe it was August 28th to the 31st of 1897. You can Google me and fact check me, but that is why Switzerland was home to the first ever Zionist Congress. That is because the CIA is Zionist in nature. It's in Geneva, Switzerland, and they are going to order their Israeli Mossad, their IDF, their Israeli Air Force, their Israeli Navy to commit one or more attacks in the next 48 to 72 hours, specifically to spawn a second global biological pandemic and or trigger World War III. Because it is in fact Shavuot, and because as detailed and or as articulated in the protocols of the Elders of Zion, the job of the Zionist establishment is to cause division and fighting between the races. So we know that they're going to stage race war related attacks, possibly targeting African American athletes, celebrities, or politicians. So we can expect mass shootings, lynchings, cross burnings, arson attacks, drive-by shootings, tire burnings, kidnapping, hostage crises, targeting African American or minority related entities. Also, because it is Shavuot, we know it's 100% certain that the Jews are going to attack themselves. That is to say that the Israeli Mossad is going to execute one or more terror attacks targeting Hebrew, Israeli, or Jewish-related entities around the world, and subsequently blame either right-wing domestic terrorists or neo-Nazis, etc., or they're going to blame Islamic terrorists, as previously mentioned, such as Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Taliban, etc. But we know that they're going to do these attacks. We know that they're going to do them. So if, in fact, the CIA returns to their bread and butter of Islamic terrorism, we can expect 9/11 style kamikaze suicide bombing attacks. We can expect IED bombings, vehicle-borne improvised explosive devices, car bombings, ship bombings, suicide bombings, mass shootings, hostage crisis, kidnappings, and or prolonged sieges and or storming attacks targeting multiple locations, most likely soft targets. If the CIA forgoes their terror offensive during the Jewish holiday of Shavuot on May 21st to the 23rd, they will predictably resort to celebrity blood sacrifices. This is another way that they like to traumatize, especially the American people, but globally. So A-list celebrities such as Tom Brady, Donald J. Trump, Aaron Rodgers, Taylor Swift, Patrick Mahomes, Mike Tyson, Conor McGregor, Michael Jordan, Kim Kardashian, etc., 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 will likely be exterminated in some sort of ancient, esoteric, and ritualistic Jewish blood sacrifice on the Jewish holiday of Shavuot on May 21st, 22nd, and or 23rd. So just to recap, we know exactly what they're going to do. They do it almost every Jewish holiday. There's literally a list, hundreds of attacks and bombings, terror attacks, assassinations that have all been executed on Jewish holidays. And so the Jewish holiday of Shabbat, which is an ode to Shiva, That is why there is a Shiva statue outside of CIA headquarters in Geneva, because this is the god they worship, the god of destruction, and they plan to destroy one or more cities, nations, or celebrities surrounding this major holiday of Shavuot on May 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. I just want to say also for the record that Donald J. Trump has a bullseye, a Mossad bullseye on his back, so it's highly likely that Donald J. Trump will be targeted in some form or fashion during the Jewish holiday of Shavuot, which will likely be scapegoated onto a Chinese, Iranian, North Korean, Pakistani, or Russian assassin, or possibly a right-wing, anti-Semitic, America First assassin, or a left-wing trans shooter. But the CIA is going to kill Donald J. Trump during the Jewish holiday of Shavuot on May 21st, 22nd, and or 23rd of 2026. So obviously, if any of the aforementioned events, and I don't have the time to list every single possible scenario, but those are the most likely scenarios. We know that the end game is a second global biological pandemic, where they will pass draconian vaccine mandates, stay-at-home orders, travel bans, and then they also want to trigger World War III, but they want to start it off with a bang, so they're trying to stage nuclear events. That's what I made a video about earlier today, was a multi-nuclear attack scapegoated onto Iran, slated for the date of May 21st to the 22nd. So we know that they're trying to stage nuclear terror attacks, and they're trying to spawn a second global biological pandemic, and that is likely going to come to fruition on the Jewish holiday of Shavuot on May 21st through the 23rd of 2026. So if this happens, I kindly ask you to download this video and share it with local, state, and federal law enforcement, military, and intelligence officials, as well as with local, national, and international media.